Here's Dr. Scott Schachter from the Ocular Surface Academy with your industry spotlight.
So tell me, Amy, I've spent a lot of time talking to your dad the last couple of months. Very interesting stories throughout his lifetime. And how did you end up where you are today? You're sitting in Paris in the pandemic. You're stuck. You can't get home. You're a relative globetrotter and organizing a dry eye consensus globally. How did you end up on this path?
That's actually a really good question. So I'm actually in a family that literally everyone focuses on OSD. So obviously David Sullivan, my father, and then Rose is my mother, and she was an intensive care nurse, but she has dry eye. So basically because of her clinical background, she started working with my father and working in his laboratory, et cetera, et cetera. When TFOS started, I was working in the .com space, so e-commerce, technology, and that was a completely different world. But I had my parents working on ocular surface disease, and then my brother Benjamin was in grad school around that time, so that's when he came up with the idea for ÈSSIRI Labs. So literally, I was surrounded by all of this, everything OSD for pretty much my entire life. And then when the .com world pretty much exploded and went .bomb in 2001, my father approached me and asked if I would be willing to help him create a company, because with his work with TFOS and organizing the conferences, before TFOS was, say, a global organization, he had organized several meetings, as you've discussed in the interviews with him previously. So in 2001, he actually approached me and asked if I would be willing to help him start a company so we could have more regular, more than just meetings, not just a conference every 4 years, but could we build a society? Could we build an organization that was global? And because of my background in international business and communications, languages, etc., I said, well, that sounds like a fun challenge. Let's do it. So in January of 2002, that's when we kicked off TFOS as it's really known today. Obviously, there were so many years before that were meetings and obviously the doctors coming together from around the world, but TFOS and its different entity, even known as TFOS, the brand TFOS instead of Tear Film and Ocular Surface Society, that's when we started it. So I was dragged in. I don't want to say kicking and screaming, but I did not have a medical background. It wasn't my passion. It was my family's thing. And I wanted to rebel. I just wanted to do anything different. And I basically joined the family eye world, I guess you could say. So I've been doing it for a while, but my father asked me to help based on my business background. So that's how I became involved. And my whole life has been everything OSD since literally January 2002.
Wow. Since 2002, TFOS has accomplished so much with all the reports and conferences. Pretty impressive. And and I'm grateful to be an ambassador for TFOS. It's really been a blast, and going to DC to talk to about fundraising for National Eye Institute, et cetera, is such a privilege, and spreading the word about disease state awareness has always been a real passion of mine. So you somewhere along the way embraced the disease state, its impact on quality of life. And my last presentation in DC, thank you, was on contact lenses, cosmetics, and COVID, and
lifestyles, how our lifestyle choices impact our eye health.
Right.
Yes.
And giving me that challenge of understanding more about cosmetics, I learned a lot. And so tell me how you got into that aspect of things, because I know that's a passion of yours.
Well, it's really interesting because back in January of 2002, again, when we launched TFOS as it's known today, I was in Paris. I was in Paris for a meeting, and I was thinking, how do I translate this thing called ocular surface disease? Because I was coming from a business background, not from a medical or scientific background. So even though I had helped my father with work in the area and done translations for many years, I didn't really process everything about it. So I was trying to translate ocular surface disease into human speak so I could appreciate it more, so I could really understand my trajectory with TFOS. So I remember I was in Paris waiting for a meeting with one of our corporate advisory board members, in fact, and I had this idea. I said, maybe because of the prevalence of, say, dry eye disease amongst women, because it is so prevalent amongst women, maybe their lifestyle choices have something to do with the prevalence of dry eye. Would cosmetics, for example, have some impact on eye health? So I literally remember exactly where I was standing in Paris in Place Saint-Michel, and I called my father, and I said, do you think that cosmetics could actually impact eye health? And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, maybe the ingredients in eye makeup could be doing something to the eyes because, why not? Maybe this is a subject. I'm just curious because, again, I didn't have a scientific background. And so that's when I really started looking into it. And it became a passion and almost an obsession because I wanted to understand more. Obviously, because I wanted to understand more about dry eye disease and ocular surface disease, but I wanted to understand why more women were being impacted. And then also, if you think about women who are the key demographic of cosmetic users, they also, at that time especially, were the ones that fell into the demographic of dry eye sufferers. So I said, this is interesting. Okay, I need to learn more. So that's how it really started. I was curious and I was trying to, again, translate science, translate medicine into, I call it human speak, but to really understand how I could apply it to my life so I could translate it to others and move forward. Literally, it's almost 20 years now. Then boom, we have another company. So it went from curiosity to many years of research to a lot of due diligence and investing my entire retirement savings into this new company. But yes, so that's how it really started. It was an innocent question in Place Saint-Michel in Paris.
So, well, that's great. Usually a lot of people who get very passionate behind something have some sort of epiphany that led them to some sort of personal story. I could have told you all I wanted 2 years ago about cosmetics, et cetera. And I mean, people could have told me, we tell people to quit smoking, lose weight, et cetera. It often takes a personal story or experience to spur that. So you did a lot of research, and that takes us to your product line, Eyes Are the Story. How did that go from passion and education and interest into a business model?
Well, basically, one thing with TFOS is we're always addressing the unmet need. So again, that's how I kind of approached life in general. So with the cosmetics, I realized there was truly an unmet need for eye safe, eye friendly products. And again, I spent many years doing research on the ingredients, the chemicals, the products, the different companies. And again, out of curiosity, I said, well, I need to find something out there that can fall into under the safety umbrella, because my entire focus was on ocular surface disease. So I said, well, if all of these chemicals are out there and all of these products, hasn't somebody done this before? And why not? So I said, okay, there is an unmet need and I must address it, because I just felt like it was almost, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it was almost my calling, because I'd spent so many years trying to educate people about the importance of ocular surface disease and understanding it and learning as much as they could about it. So I said, okay, well, I have to translate this for everybody else. So I'm just going to do this. So no, it was an epiphany. It was a calling, but it was really, I was addressing an unmet need. So that's really what I wanted to do. I said, okay, well, I haven't found what I wanted. It's sort of, if you are looking for I know that you don't wear dresses, maybe not on a regular basis, but if you want the perfect dress for an event, sometimes you can't find it in the store. So you have to have it made. You have to have it custom made. So I said, okay, I have not found what I want. So I need to make it, and I need to do whatever I can to make that happen. So.
Well, very true. For years I've spoken to women about, there's not an eye doctor listening who hasn't seen, they may not know what it is, like me, didn't used to know, mascara, foundation, concealer, etc., working its way across the lid margin on top of the meibomian glands, floating, glittery stuff floating in the tear film. Of course, it's going to have an impact on the eye. And so when we talk to women about, well, you should not be using eyeliner and you should use caution around your eye, et cetera. Well, what brand should I use? That's always the question. Well, I don't know. I don't really know, but I do know that the last time the US updated their cosmetics legislation was about 100 years ago. Europe updated theirs in about 2008, I believe. And we have a list of about 20 ingredients that can't go in cosmetics. In Europe, it's about 1,200, something in that range. And so when you said you couldn't find something that you wanted, what have you done beyond European standards, which got more stringent in 2008 in your own product line?
Well, what was really interesting is, again, I did look at the European regulations and the laboratories that I collaborate with. I currently collaborate with 3 different laboratories to make the formulations. So I spoke with them about the European regulations and I said, okay, this is really important to follow those guidelines because, again, they're a lot more stringent than in the US. But also I looked at eye science, and I'm just keep it simple. I'm just keeping it basically. So basically what I use is, again, because of my trying to comprehend TFOS and everything that the KOLs were working on, all of the reports everybody was working on. And because I had to translate the findings from TFOS states to the media, again, all of this information was in my head. So I said, there is so much eye science out there. There has to be more to it. Why have people not been addressing the impact of cosmetics on the ocular surface? So I was really looking at ingredients. I spent so much time on PubMed looking at the different ingredients and how they impacted, or was the research on meibomian glands impact on, tear film? Like, what are these ingredients doing? But then just overall, if you started thinking about, again, like MGD, think of the products out there that can actually impact the meibomian gland. So I did a deep dive into PubMed, and I spent so many hours, so many months just reading as much as I could on the science. And then I took what was out there and I went to the laboratories and I said, look at this science. This research says the following. So we shouldn't have these ingredients in the products. And I said, so I came up with a black list of ingredients. I came up with a gray list of ingredients and a white list of ingredients. And I said, truthfully, to make eye makeup, it's really, really difficult, almost 1,000% impossible to make something really clean because it just would not work. So I said, okay, laboratories, here is your challenge. Make something that's cleaner than what's out there. So, that was a huge undertaking, and that took a really long time too, because we were looking at the black list of chemicals, and some of them are absolutely necessary in some cases to make eye makeup. So you say, okay, well, can we adapt those? Can we tweak it? What can we do? So we did a lot of adapting, replacing, and tweaking to make the formulations. But that's what we did. We took the eye science that had been published at that time. And since we started with the first generation of formulations, there's so much more science that's come out. For example, the preservatives, phenoxyethanol and chlorphenicin. We did not have that research when we were making the products, but at the same time, those were on my blacklist because of what I had read about those preservatives. And I said, oh my goodness. So basically, that's how it all started. I was reading the eye science and I applied the eye science. I gave it to the laboratories. I said, you're the chemists, you're the specialists, digest, translate, let's make this happen.
And so tell me about Eyes Are the Story. I wanted to show you, this is something that resides in my shower, by the way, which is a facial cleanser, correct? I believe that's what it says. So, and I do like the packaging. I'll just show it's pretty cool. Looks pretty nice. And so your business model is selling through practices currently. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I thought it would be really important because, again, this is a brand that I came up with because I was addressing the unmet need that was being discussed, say, amongst the eye care specialists that I was working with around the world to begin with, and also the patient demand. So I said, in order to make a product or products that are credible, obviously you want eye care specialists to say these are good. So if the eye care specialists say these are good, then that's valid, because if it's not, then what's the point? Then it's just marketing. And I did not want to create something that was just marketing fluff. So I said, okay, obviously the number one task is to create something that will be approved by and endorsed by the doctors, but legitimately, not something that just looks pretty. They slap their name on it. Let's have a nice day. I said, no, I want to be different here. And that's why we say we're blurring the lines between beauty and pharma, because obviously in a clinic, you'll sell, say, OTC products, pharma products. They're in a white box. You're just like, have a nice white box. There's something in there. You give it to the patient. Have a nice day. I wanted to do something that the doctors could sell and endorse. So I said, okay, let's focus on selling in clinics. And again, this was not something that was really done, because most, say, optometric practices, for the most part, would say have eyeglasses or sunglasses or contact lens solution, or, all of the different accessories needed for the lenses or just the frames. Okay. But wait a second, there's more of an opportunity there, because if you're selling contact lens solution or lens cloths or chains for the glasses, I said, there's an opportunity there. Even with, say, ophthalmology clinics, the larger ones, you know, they have waiting rooms, they have patients, they have magazines, they have information, I said, hold on, here is an opportunity, because these clinics do actually sell product. And they go anywhere from something to clean your lens with to prescriptions, you know, which is like pretty much everything. So I said, why not? If an eye doctor can prescribe something that can make your eyelashes grow, then why couldn't they not prescribe, but why couldn't they say, patient, buy a mascara? Because at the end of the day, whatever you put on or around your eyes is actually relevant to the eye doctor's practice. So that was the initial business model. And of course, COVID completely blew up that whole concept because all the clinics in North America were closed. It was great. So that's how it really started, because I wanted the doctor backing.
And your product line, so go easy on me and some of the guys who don't have a lot of experience with makeup. And I know a little bit about it. I do know that women, you know, always talk about how your significant other will be getting ready. And what do guys do? They don't sit and watch. They grab a beer and turn on a sporting event. So we don't know, but we do know it takes a long time. And so there are as many as 12 to 15 things that you might put on your face prior to being ready. And
at least, but I think men use about 6 products a day. So it's not just
okay.
women who use products.
Okay. So tell me what your product line consists of. What and walk us through for someone like you're talking to me, like someone who knows nothing. And I know a little more now, but to someone who knows nothing about makeup, what is it that your product line consists of?
Well, the first generation product line that we have was really created to be the dashboard, because we wanted a basic set of products that people would use on a regular basis, on a daily basis, really, that they would leave before they went to work in the morning and they would use before they went to bed at night. Because we said, first and foremost, the objective here is to start the conversation about the importance of eye health. And you have prevention and preservation. So what better way to say, you know, start every morning by washing your face, right? Cleaning your lids, and then using appropriate eye makeup. And then at the end of the day, what do? You need to clean your face, clean your lids, remove the eye makeup before you go to bed. Because obviously, as you're very well aware, as everyone knows or should know, if you do not clean your lids, especially if you wear eye makeup, there can be some other challenges there. In fact, the Arvo poster that we did a couple of years ago, there was an ophthalmologist, okay, who wears contact lenses, long wear contact lenses, and sleeps with her eye makeup. Of course, she does not do that anymore. But when she was standing in front of this poster, she came up to me, her mouth literally just dropped to the ground, and she said, I sleep with my eye makeup. And I just looked at her and I said, what? So again, the objective for us was first generation products, keep it really simple, because we wanted the conversation to begin between the eye care specialist and the patient about their lifestyle choices and how they can impact their eye health. So that's how we started, the basics. So we have, again, what do you wash your face with? Why? Because it's important to use something to wash your face with that also will not insult or terrorize the eyes. So we said, okay, face wash, but also it's really important to clean your lids, obviously. So we also have the lid wipes. So they can obviously be used to remove the eye makeup or just refresh the lids or clean them. So you have face wash, the eyelid wipes, and then you also have, it's called eye proof serum, but it's eye to face serum. So you can actually put it around your eyes or on the lids, but you can also use it on the face or the neck. So it's basically, again, everything you need as the basics for the morning all day, and then do the same routine at night. So then obviously if you use eye makeup, you have the mascara and the eyeliner. So you have the face wash, the wipes, the serum, the mascara, and the eyeliner. Again, first generation products, simple, simple, simple. They can be used for both women who use eye makeup and for men who don't use eye makeup.
And you offer training. This is somewhat new, and my own staff has gone through this, where they can get trained in terms of presentation. It's taken me a little getting used to, but I have some pretty good anterior segment cameras, and I can show women these pictures. So my staff has been trained, and I just sort of make the recommendations for something that's going to be more eye friendly. My staff will talk to you in more detail about that. The important thing, again, you mentioned a very important point earlier, you could have the safest mascara and makeup in the world, but it may just not work and run down your face, right? So your products are not waterproof. Is that correct?
Yeah,
because waterproof has a lot of bad stuff. So ironically, some of the most expensive brands might be have the worst stuff, right?
But even what you need to use to remove the waterproof eye makeup, and that was more research that was done again after we had done the formulation. So for example, eye makeup remover can have BAC, which you're very well aware of, BAC, and formaldehyde. So both of those are ingredients that can be found in the waterproof eye makeup removers and also in eye makeup, but there are higher concentrations of some pretty funky chemicals in the waterproof eye makeup removers because those products are hard to get off. You basically need a power drill to take some of that stuff off your eyelids. It's like, oh my goodness. So no waterproof.
How do you talk to women about that are either I'll give you two scenarios. One who's stuck on that look of eyeliner and that's a look, right? And the other who swears by waterproof mascara. How do doctors and staff talk to patients like that?
Well, first of all, you can never say no. Obviously, if it's going to kill you, you can try to say no, but people don't care. It's like, don't eat the donut, you'll have a heart attack. People don't care. They'll still eat the donut. But the thing is with eye makeup, that's another thing. Women will not give up their eye makeup. But that's another reason why I created the brand, because I realized a lot of women were suffering because they refused to give up eye makeup. I don't like to say no. I say just tweak it a little bit. So for example, with eyeliner, one of the trends is to put eyeliner inside on the waterline and also on the inside on the upper waterline. That's horrifying. It's just, we don't need to go over the conversation for that, but we know that's just not good. You're basically just suffocating the meibomian gland, not to mention the fact you're killing them too. But to put it simply, just don't do that. And that's even another reason why I did this eyeliner, because liquid eyeliner, you try to put liquid eyeliner on the waterline, it's just going to run straight down your face. Oh, good. It says on the box, do not apply on the waterline. So basically, it's good. I'm not asking you to give instructions to your patients about how to apply their eye makeup, but it is useful to know at least where on the eye it's better to apply it. And instead of saying, don't do that, you just say, yeah, you have this problem. You're suffering. I'd like to make a recommendation. This is based on science. So that's one way to do it. In terms of the waterproof mascara, yes, it's wonderful if you're doing hot yoga to have waterproof mascara because the mascara doesn't run down your face when you're sweating. But do you really need to go to the gym with your mascara? No. So we like to say also you can wear waterproof mascara on 2 occasions, for weddings and for funerals, because you're going to cry. Obviously, if you have someone that has a severe dry eye and they use drops a lot, it probably is going to be challenging not to use a mascara that's not waterproof. But again, it's a double-edged sword because the chemicals you need to strip off the mascara can also be really aggressive. So,
and what kind of, along those lines, are you continuing to do research and develop your product line?
Yes, absolutely. And there has been a lot more research that's come out recently, which is also very interesting in terms of the development of the formulations, but also the demand of products. Because again, we started with a very small collection in order to start the conversation. And we wanted to see what the demand would be. So it's really interesting to hear the feedback from the patients and also the doctors about the products and what we need to do next. Of course, there's a whole huge, massive list of products that everyone wants. And I said, woo, okay, send me the investors. We can address all of it. But right now we're still a startup, so we're doing what we can. But there are several more products in the pipeline. So they are coming. But it's just, we started with the basics.
Is there any sort of patient satisfaction guarantee?
Basically, all the emails come to me at the moment. If there's a patient who is not happy or if their eyes are irritated and they write to me and say, I can't use this, I literally respond to everyone. And first of all, I will ask them, why is it irritating? And what's really interesting about a lot of the feedback that I've had exchanges with, once we actually look at the other products that they use on their face and then they use the eye makeup, the eyeliner, mascara, they're happy with it and it's not irritating. So if there is a problem, we just return it. No, we just refund. There isn't any question because again, the whole reason we made this line was so people wouldn't suffer. We don't want beauty products to hurt your eyes. So if someone is suffering from our products, of course, we're just going to say, okay, maybe something else another time. Thank you for your feedback. but we've barely had any returns. There have only been a couple of people who have really said, no, I can't use this.
Yeah, we have had very good success, and what I did in my own practice was made sure my staff used it and got a good sense. And once they're not going to listen to me about frame eyewear. I mean, they're hardly going to listen to me about makeup. So I can just say, listen, I'd like you to give this a try. And they've all been very happy with it. Happy staff makes for success in patient education, et cetera. So that's been great. How can doctors find out more? Perhaps, I don't know where you are from a company standpoint, but first of all, how can they find out more about bringing the product line into their practice? Yeah. And are you still taking on investors in your company?
Yes, both. In fact, right now we're only selling in the US and Canada, and we're only selling retail in clinics with healthcare providers, eye care specialists, or via our site. So clinics can send me an email at info@eyesarthestory.com. And I can help the clinic set up a wholesale account, a retail account. And we have very good, prices for the clinics, because again, we want the doctor endorsement, and it's very important. And we can do the training, we can speak with anyone, we can set that up. info@eyesarthestory.com. And in terms of investors, yes, please.
All right.
Somebody asked me, actually somebody from the pharma industry asked me to disrupt the industry with these products. And I said, okay, let's do this, but we have to do this together. As you know very well, I'm all about teamwork. So I want to bring everyone together to make this happen, to move this forward. So we're addressing an unmet need. We're working together. We're doing the research, and we're making this happen. So yes, bring on the investors. Please contact me. info@eyesarthestory.com.
All right. Very good.
Thank you,
Well,
Scott.
I appreciate your time, Amy. And am I missing anything? Anything else you'd like to share?
Well, truthfully, I would like to say thank you so much, because even our conversations that we had many, many years ago about eye makeup added to my research. So I asked you to help with a blog post about mascara. I think that was probably in 2013, something like that. So this conversation has been going on for a long time. So I've learned a lot from you. And
I think I was sitting in a coffee shop in North Carolina. I kind of remember that a long time ago.
So yeah, no, it's important. So I love working with you. I love collaborating with you, and I'd love to know also from your colleagues, how can we work together and make this happen, make this possible. So far, it's been great. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and I wish you luck getting out of Paris and getting back home.
This has been your Industry Spotlight with Dr. Scott Schechter. Thanks for listening. You can find us online at www.ocularsurfaceacademy.com, all major podcast platforms, and YouTube.